I don't have a display to show, but I
Okay,
have a definition to read.
you could do that.
In the Josh, you and I are in the what's called the lounge act. We're out in the perimeter of the entertainment world. If you go to the big casinos, they have the main stage, which typically can hold 2,000 to 2,500 people, and then they have lounge acts out on the floor of the casino where people gamble or where they used to gamble, and those are called lounges, and they typically can hang 20 to 50 seats capacity in the lounge. And in the internet, we have what's called the big sandbox and the small sandbox. And you and I, our shows are in the small sandbox with minimal exposure. We're not highlighted. We're buried. So actors who appear in social media who are promoted are Alex Jones, Joe Rogan, Dan Bongino, Truth Social at Rumble, places like Tucker Carlson, his act, the Stupider act, Stupiders. Those shows get the Big Tent concept refers to a widely inclusive political ideology or organization that will permit diverse groups and individuals to join the Big Tent, regardless of their differing beliefs or backgrounds or ethnicities. The Big Tent signifies a broad approach that aims to attract a wide range of voters rather than being narrowly focused on specific ideology. This concept has been used in various contexts, but particularly in politics, to describe parties that seek to appeal to a broader electorate. This will allow for a more inclusive environment where different viewpoints can coexist. Of course, those viewpoints have zero influence on the outcome of the Big Tent, which is focused by the big bank who controls the Big Tent anthropology. Back to you, Josh.
For people probably going to be buying them, and they don't even know what's coming because they're going to get them because they look great on the surface. They look, oh wow, for a couple $1,000s, and then get it back to your house, and you're going to have remote operators going into the robot to get training data, because if you see what it can't do, it's going to have a person go into the robot and do the task if the robot is unable to do it.
Well, it doesn't really matter. The robots are a distraction. What people don't understand is people are Soylent Green. Okay, so if you got vaccinated, if you were stupid enough to buy a Ring camera, if you live in a smart neighborhood with LED streetlights, and you don't hear the airplanes and helicopters above your head, and look at all the blinding glare of the sunlight 24 hours a day, even at night, just put your flashlight up and you'll see the glare of the dust floating around that you're breathing into your lungs. If you don't know that, if you don't see that in the headlights of your car, you don't see the LED glares during the night, and you don't see the sunlight glare during the day, then you are a robot. Okay, you're tethered to the cloud. You're tethered to the HAL 9000. Open the pod bay door, HAL. Except you don't give the commands. The algorithm in the clouds, the HAL 9000, issues the directives, not you. So I love this robot as a theatrical entertainment device, but it is a distraction because people don't understand that they are the robot. The people are the robot. We don't need robots. We already have the augmented people. That's human augmentation. Back to you, John.
Did you?
Yeah, many times. I've seen the show before. It was called the coronavirus.
Um,
Corona spy program. Coronavirus involves Lockheed Martin and John Ramsey of Access Graphics. Coronavirus involves TRW and Bell Nokia Labs and Northrop. They're all involved with Raytheon Missile Guidance to create Looking Glass and Keyhole 24/7 surveillance. That's what Corona is, the spy program. Then they renamed it COVID, which is a military acronym, COVID-19. That translates in English to Certification of vaccine identity artificial intelligence. That's the Corona spy program, where we trace, track, and target using a MAC address, also known as real ID verification. That's what a MAC address is. If they can pick you up and verify who you are as a person in your bed, in your home, or when you're wandering around your strategic hamlet, which you think is a town, then you are tethered to the HAL 9000. And I've seen this. And they used to use linguistical terminology, like safe and effective novel vaccines, brought to you by military labs like RAND Corporation and DARPA. That's who created the Moderna vaccine. Moderna didn't create the COVID vaccine. RAND Corporation did. The RAND Corporation, they're working with Joy Weiss and Christopher Pfister at UC Berkeley in the Corey Hall, aka Terra Swarm building on the 4th floor. You'll find the RAND Corporation. And they provided the COVID vaccine for the World Health Organization to tether all of the European clueless clowns that believed in COVID. They said safe and effective. It's not safe, nor is it effective. It guarantees the signature with the Looking Glass Keyhole Corona Spy Satellite program, you knuckleheads. And they said everyone must get vaccinated. We all got to get vaccinated. No one is safe until everyone is safe. No one is safe until everyone is safe. Right? Social distance, 6 feet, 33. Got to wear a face diaper. Got to wear a face mask. You're in a cult ritual. You're in a military cult ritual where the captain's in charge and we follow orders or people get in trouble. Remember, I couldn't get a turkey sandwich unless I put my face diaper on below my nose and walked in and ordered a turkey sandwich at the deli, which they wouldn't serve me unless I had my ritual face mask on. Augmentation. Human augmentation, biotelemetry, biometrics, the telemetry of your biosphere, your aura, your chakra, except that really it's your biosphere, your personal body wireless area network, Y-band, wireless body area network, Y-band. You're going to hear those terms, MIMS and MIMOs, MOSA and SOSA, mesogens, smart desk. Those terms are not used in the Big Tent. They're used in the lounge acts. That's what Josh and I are.
Hyperledger system is maintaining a dossier of your travel habits, your health records, what bedroom you sleep, what rooms you occupy in your home, what is your activities of daily living, what music do you like, who is registered in your cell phone directory, who is registered in your email directory, what browser searches do you follow, what is your driving record, what is your DNA. You'll have a DNA dossier. Your DNA will become your molecular MAC address, your media access control for neuromodulation to tether you to the cloud. They will have a whole file for under precision medicine for your DNA, and your DNA is essentially your plastic tag for a dairy cow on the air is your DNA. Palantir will have a copy of your molecular MAC address, and your income tax filing, your bank statements, your mortgage information, all of that's going to be zeroed out by the year 2030. You may have $100 million at your brokerage account. It will be turned into zero, and you'll be given a social credit score, and our entire money system will be flipped to hyperledger system known as central bank digital currency.
Terms say it's not used without consent, and then in brackets, unless required by law. So the last sentence voids the whole thing. I found one country debating geofencing laws. I went back to the dealer. The sales guys said they'd never heard of it. The service manager said it was Big Brother. Meetings with the directors are a no informed consent. He's obviously not consented to this being on the car. He wasn't informed that this was being put on the car. And he wasn't informed that if it was being put on the car, it would add this new geofencing, geo-timing capability to the car. So there's absolutely a consent issue here. Hyundai wouldn't reverse the update. I was the first to complain, evidently. Again, problem with the fact that people aren't paying attention to what's going on with their highly technical vehicles. The car with the mark of the beast was now really no good to me. Eventually, the dealer agreed to swap with zero profit. He took the Kona in at retail and sold me an older i20 at cost. if the car is pre-SOS button, there's no phone card installed and it's not connected. Now, I've had this debate with my wife because she has a 2016 BMW 1 Series, and because I don't drive it all that often, the one evening we were doing something in the car with the kids, not dogging, because that's usually when you use your internal light, isn't it? Especially where I'm parked right now in this car park. Lee, the EV Map Master, would know all about this sort of stuff. Anyway, we weren't dogging. I was just looking for the light, the internal light that you click. There you go. Look, I click it in my old-fashioned Volvo. It makes a clicky noise. Just enjoying the noise there. And the lights come on in the back and in the middle. However, in my wife's car, when I clicked the button that I thought was going to switch all the lights on in the car, I then heard a voice say, "Can I take your details? What's your emergency?" Because it's got one of them SOS buttons, which I absolutely hate. So if the car is pre-SOS button, there's no phone card installed and it's not connected. I did lots of research, including a high-tech crash repairers who said some everyday cars are already fully autonomous, just not switched on. Let me read that again. I did lots of research, including with some, it's not written the best. Sorry, buddy, your writing wasn't fantastic. I did lots of research, including with some high-tech crash repairers who said that some everyday cars are already fully autonomous. Already. The technology is already there in the cars. They just haven't switched it on. This is pretty scary stuff. I visited other brand dealers and all the salespeople were unaware, but when they went and checked, all brands are using the same tech platform, just with their own brand names.
That you consent. Consent is the default setting.
Qui tacet consentire videtur.
If you get a cell phone, if you buy a car, you are consenting to 24/7 autonomous surveillance, and you agree with it. It means you agree. It works. And The Wizard of Oz was one of the premier banking documentary Hollywood films ever. I mean, there have been many great banking documentary films that Hollywood's produced. Number one is The Wizard of Oz. Number two is The Swiss Conspiracy. And number three is The International. Those are my three top picks for banking. Television brought you The Beverly Hillbillies with Buddy Ebsen and Sharon.
I have to watch that sometime.
With Sharon Tate and Miss Jane and Jethro, Max Baer. That's a banking tutorial on television for CBS television. But you should know that The Wizard of Oz, that Dorothy in the book had silver slippers, Josh, silver. And they were changed to ruby slippers for the film because the controllers decided they didn't want it to be too overt. They wanted to be a little more covert. There are many overt messages in The Wizard of Oz, but the slippers are actually a concealment. At the time that Frank Braun was writing his novel, The Wizard of Oz, or the series of books, is a series of books about the Emerald City, was that, first of all, there is no such thing as an Emerald City. The people who lived there had to wear tinted glasses that made everything look green, but the city actually wasn't emerald color, but people perceived it to be. And then Dorothy had silver slippers because at the time that book was being published in the Midwest, we had a drought. And a drought means no rainfall. Rainfall means no water. No water means no income, no crops for the farmers. There's a starvation problem. There's a farming bankruptcy problem. And it was argued because banks wouldn't lend money to the farmers because of the drought, that they were choking out the farmers, which is today what Amazon is doing to all small businesses, just exactly what the banks did to farmers in the Midwest. And so the bankers countered with, well, then we'll work on an alternative money system. Silver is more available. We'll use silver coins. And then the banks really went berserk because they didn't want silver. They controlled all the gold. And that's what the yellow brick road is in The Wizard of Oz, right? Follow the yellow brick road. Don't go in the weeds. If you go in the weeds, if you go off the gold standard, what happens? You got a flying monkey problem with a wicked witch of the West on a broomstick, and they're going to get you and presumably, imprison you in the castle. And you got flying monkeys, unless you comply and stay on the gold standard. And the silver slippers were a threat to the gold standard. it was a threat to the centralized banking authority. Back to you, Josh. I'm concerned about real ID verification on the internet, and that you won't be able to log on to the Juxtaposition show or the Urban Odyssey show. Just to log on as a free member will probably not be possible at some point next year. And then to be a paid member, you won't be able to make any payments to me unless you have a real ID. So I'm looking at, mailing me checks, but I understand the central banks want to outlaw paper money. In other words, they don't want currency, they don't want cash, they don't want silver coins, and they also don't want you to write a check, that they're going to outlaw that. And so if that's the case, then you're stuck with the real ID digital currency, which will become tokenized within a couple of years. We're going to be on tokens. But for now, it's digital currency. But I'm going to probably have to explore collecting checks from people like I was a paper boy back in 1968, 1969, 1970. I received checks from people to pay me for my services for 1 month, every month, or I got cash. And I'm going to have to go back to how it was when I was a kid. And that's going to last not long, because that'll be outlawed. And then I won't be able to turn it into a token credit, right? So